How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, this is one of these videos that I did not plan to do any videos tonight. But I often tell the royal family that I do videos based on pure emotion. And I'm like, many people, we read articles and we feel some kind of way, so I'm chilling back, and I haven't really took the time to listen to Judge Tammy Kemp, and I seen her in passing and heard bits and pieces of this coon tour that she is on, trying to justify her behavior. Now, some things that stood out to me that I feel like that was drastic was that if you look at these various pictures here, you see where Tammy Kemp just got her hair slicked back, not made up. You could tell she don't have no makeup on, and we seen like she had a big old some beads, a necklace or something like that around her neck. Okay, now we see her again, her hair fixed up, they didn't so to speak, dolling her up. And to be honest with you, you could, if you seen her in person, just say in passing, you or I possibly would not recognize her. And so there's a lot of bullshit behind this. Now, I have 3 videos to play the royal family, and I have a bonus video, and anytime I bring a bonus video, it's like it puts icing on the bullshit that we are seeing here, because all of this that's going down is inappropriate. So you see that this is a long video, but again, anything that I do is necessary, and I feel the things that I'm going to point out to the royal family is just pure ass bullshit, how far a motherfucking coon will go. And you see how I have it titled, and I'm going to tell you the reasons why Judge Tammy Kemp is reacting in the fashion that she's reacting in, and y'all going to be possibly amazed by what I'm going to say. So we're going to get into this first video, and this is extremely also rare to see CNN put almost over a 15-minute video up. Usually the longest I ever seen probably was like maybe 5 to 7 minutes, but it's a reason for everything, because this is demonstrating to us how wicked and how fake and disingenuous the media is, and also this is also giving the royal family a clear spotlight on when you are compromised and you done sold out, and this is what they will reduce you to, but you put your black ass in this position. So here we go.
God has forgiven you. Please forgive yourself so that you can live a purposeful life. And she asked me, she said, do you think my life can still have a purpose? And I said, I know it can. And she said, well, do you think God will forgive me? I said, I know he will.
Well, welcome to Full Circle. I'm Anderson Cooper. That was the judge in the Amber Geiger trial who came under criticism for hugging the defendant after she was convicted of murdering a man in his own apartment. The judge had a lot more to say about gifting her Bible to Amber Geiger, about the role that she thinks race played in the reaction to Geiger's 10-year sentence, and on why she decided to break some rules of courtroom decorum in the name of compassion. Our Ed Lavandera got the wide-ranging interview. He joins me now. Ed, it's fascinating to actually finally hear from this judge. I know it surprised a lot of people when Judge Kemp hugged Amber Geiger, former police officer, and angered people as well. What more did she say about that?
Well, Anderson, she told us she was kind of oblivious for several days to the widespread debate that it sparked in so many corners of the country. She was at a retreat with girlfriends over the weekend, and then she told us that she had finally started getting the chance to process what people were saying, but she still.
Now let me stop this for a minute. I want you to look at this fat, greasy motherfucker. This dude is racist to the fucking core. I can see it all over his being. What I'm presenting to the royal family is a form of entertainment, okay? To the enemy. And this motherfucker that you see up here is one of the enemy's supporters that I talk about frequently, my royal family. I mean, this is a Kodak moment, literally. Is backing up many things that all of us have been saying, and now we getting to see it play out in real time.
By what she did. She has a hard time kind of comprehending why anyone would be so angry about someone showing another person, regardless of where they are in their life, any kind of level of compassion. She says that's just what she's brought to this job. It's not the first time she told us that she's hugged a defendant. She did say it is the first time she's hugged someone who was on their way to prison.
When she said, "Can I have a hug?" I just kind of froze, and I kind of thought about my responsibilities as a person. I just heard a sermon on treating the lost with love and compassion, and ironically, I was standing in a spot where I had been standing when I was inducted as a judge in this courtroom. And I remembered that one of the charges that I was given was to do just, to love mercy, and to walk humbly. So I was like, And she asked me again, and I said, of course, of course. And so we got up, and she hugged me, and I hugged her back.
Anderson, one of the things I was kind of struck by in talking to her is just how often, especially in those final moments of the trial, she was really struggling with what is expected of a judge and the decorum of a judge in those situations, and the rules of what should happen and shouldn't happen, and then her role just as a human and wanting to be able to deal with everyone in the courtroom in a human way. That struggle was with her there in those such dramatic moments at the end of that trial.
I mean, there were so many human moments in the course of this trial. Obviously, another moment that from the sentencing that really stood out was the other hug between the brother of Botham Jean and the woman who killed Botham Jean.
Okay, I want the royal family to stop. I want to stop this for a reason. Now, we all know if this situation was totally opposite, where that was a black woman that was a cop, and that the black cop female shot a white man the same so-called status as Botham, or it don't even have to be that status. It could be a grimy ass so-called white boy, whatever you want to call them, and all this stuff happened. First and foremost, these two up here would be saying how inappropriate what she did. They would be demanding for her to lose her job and all of that. And as far as like Botham's brother, if that would have been a white boy up there saying that to a sister, they would have, his family would have went off and grabbed him, possibly the bailiff. The judge would have said no, and all of this. These people are disingenuous. Again, this is entertaining to them. And even when you look at the reactions of Amber Geiger's sorry ass attorneys, they were having to hold back their laughter at the level of insanity of black folks. They don't give a damn about us, and they looking at them like, what the fuck wrong with these niggas? I can imagine the conversation behind the scenes. This shit is laughable to them and stuff. Forgive me, my royal family, but this shit is ticking me off. I chose to watch this particular video the first time because I wanted y'all to get my purest, authentic reaction.
What did the judge say about that moment, and how surprised was she by what he did? Because the brother asked the judge if it was okay to hug the defendant, and I mean, that's really not done. And there was a moment, it seemed like there was a long pause as she thought about it, and then he asked again. How did she describe it?
This was fascinating. You almost get like chills just thinking about that moment, getting her perspective. She knows that it is actually against the rules for any kind of victim's family members to have any kind of physical contact with a defendant. That's why in that video you see the sheriff's deputy and the bailiff standing so close there to Amber Geiger. Remember, at that point, she is a convicted felon, and there are rules in place. But the judge told us that as she heard Brant John speak, she wasn't expecting him to talk. He was the last person she expected to hear from, and mostly that's based on what family members had been saying, that Brant John had been very quiet, very depressed since his brother's murder. He didn't. The judge couldn't imagine that he was ready to be in a place to forgive and tell Amber Geiger that he loved her, and she talked with us a little bit more about that.
Okay, let me freeze that before she opened her lying ass mouth. Now, let's not lose sight at all. Before this trial started, before they let the jury even come in, Amber Geiger's attorneys presented information to the judge saying that the DA, which is a black man, had an interview that night, and she went the fuck off. She reacted like the DA, the black man, had committed the worst crime possible. Let's not lose sight of that. Let's not lose sight that she was operating her courtroom with an iron fist. That is the fake ass energy that she put off to us, because like I said, I'm gonna be honest. I was looking at her close, and she is good at what she do, because I personally couldn't see it, but there were many others that could see it. I couldn't even feel it. That's when you getting caught up too deep. I'm gonna keep this shit core. So I'm picking this bitch apart, because that energy she put out was like, I am fair and square across the board. Now you are you call yourself upholding the rules, Mammy Kemp, and then you gonna make a motherfucking exception for a murderer who killed our royal son in cold motherfucking blood. This ain't the first time she shot a gun, and the second times get easier and easier. I am motherfucking pissed all back over again that this bitch would sit up here and play these motherfucking games with us. I'm sick of these motherfucking coons.
When he said please a second time, I just could not refuse him. And I think he needed that, and I think Miss Geiger certainly needed that.
I remember watching that, and it was that second please. It was like this.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what got me, got a lot of people. It was that second please, like he was desperately begging you to give him this moment, like he needed this moment. Did you feel that the same way?
Absolutely. That second please. I was struggling with the first please, but I really think I was on the verge of saying that's not allowed. But the second please, and him looking at me. I couldn't look at him. I couldn't say no. And so I said yes. And
knowing that that's something that's not allowed, typically not allowed.
Yeah. Yes, I thought Mr. Jean needed that. And when Miss Geiger ran to him, I understood that she needed it too.
So Anderson, you could really kind of sense there. I mean, could you imagine had she said no to this moment, the way this trial is talked about would be completely different?
You know, it's so fascinating to hear from her. I'm so glad you were able to do this interview, that she was willing to talk, because so often it's so easy to criticize people for their actions, and to attack them, and yet at the same time we often want people in positions of authority to be human beings and to make judgments based on humanity, not necessarily just the letter of the law. And obviously this may have been a violation of sort of decorum in the court, and obviously there are reasons why a rule like that is in place, but to just hear her humanity, it's really, I don't know, I find it really moving. It's important to point out this was a case where a white police officer killed an unarmed black man in his own home. Those dynamics were not lost on the judge.
You know, she told me that she was elected to judge here in Dallas County in 2014. She told me that she'd spent many years as a prosecutor working here in this city. And she said that one of the reasons she decided to run for judge, in part, not the whole reason, but was the Trayvon Martin case out of Florida, that she felt that she had been told by her pastor that if you were in a position to do more, you should do more. And that was kind of a calling that she felt that that would inspire her to run, to be a judge. So it's fascinating that when she gets here, one of the cases that she'll long be known for is presiding over this case where, it has all of those kind of elements to what originally, made her want to become a judge in the first place.
Frankly, I don't think I would be getting this criticism if Miss Geiger were a black woman. I really don't. And I hate that we want to limit our compassion to one race or so. We've had a long line of miscarriages of justice where other innocent black men have been wrongfully killed, and the outcomes haven't been what reasonable people thought that they might have been. But I'm not privy to the rules or regulations of every other state, so I don't know what happened in those trials. But the outcomes have not been what the general public might have thought that they might have been. And so many times we want to line up things along racial lines. I'm very happy that the jury we ended up with was a diverse jury.
Let me stop this for a minute so I do not lose my train of thought. When she said the part about that she frankly don't believe she would be getting, I guess, the unquote backlash that she is getting from the royal family, you would have been getting that motherfucking backlash from Esau. Esau would have been doing everything as I speak, trying to remove your coon motherfucking ass off of the bench, and said that was inappropriate, dysfunctional, and they would use every derogatory name that they can use. They would be demanding for an appeal. No, not appeal. They would be demanding for her to get locked up, fined, and everything. So that's her throwing it at our face, getting up in her ass about her actions. She know what time it is. She know the pain and the atrocity that the royal family continues to deal with, and then you gonna sit up and throw that lug at us? Fuck you, you mammy ass bitch.
So no one can really make that argument that they were a polarized group. And Miss Geiger I was very cognizant to try to give Ms. Geiger and the state a fair trial. Ms. Geiger cannot bear the sins of all of these other trials where the verdict didn't come out what the general public might have hoped it would have. And I think that's a part of it. But then there's some people that are never going to be satisfied.
You know, Anderson, there she's kind of speaking to that whole idea that was really been debated so much over the course of the last week, is that you've heard from a lot of, especially in the African American community, where they say, you know, why is it always black people in these situations that have to be the ones to forgive a white person who has, you know, committed such a horrific act? And we asked the judge about that, and she said because quite often, more often than not, it is black people who are suffering or the victims of these horrific acts, and so they're in the ones to be in the position to forgive. But she did say it's a good thing. She thinks that this forgiveness and this compassion unburdens people, that to live with the anger of what happens in these moments is not a healthy and good way to live. And she hopes that's the lesson that people take away, not just from what she did, but mostly from what Brant Jean, Botham Jean's brother, did.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at this and say, you know, there shouldn't have been forgiveness and compassion, you know, shared in a courtroom. You could also look at it the other way and say there needs to be, you know, more forgiveness and compassion everywhere. There's also a whole other side to this trial that it still has ramifications, because now there's civil procedures going on from the Jean family. There's been an update, I understand, in the killing of Joshua Brown. Now, Joshua Brown was a neighbor of Botham Jean's and a key witness in the trial because he explained what he heard and didn't hear. He was killed after testifying. What's the new information?
Well, it appears clear from what we're hearing today from Dallas police investigators is that the murder of Joshua Brown, and just for people who aren't quite familiar with what he did, he was lived across the hallway from Botham Jean, and in the course of the trial, Amber Geiger testified that she had loudly told Botham Jean to let me see your hands, let me see your hands, and Joshua Brown was one of the people who testified that he didn't quite hear something that clear. So in some circles, it was viewed as kind of discrediting Amber Geiger's testimony in that moment. So that's where he was. He testified on the second day of the trial, couple of weeks ago. He was shot and killed last Friday night in the parking lot of his apartment complex in Dallas, not the same complex where Botham Jean was killed. But Dallas police say it is unrelated to his testimony, that this was a drug deal gone bad, that there were 3 men from Louisiana who had come to Dallas to conduct a drug deal with Joshua Brown, and that there was a shootout there. One of the suspects...
Okay, we're going to stop that so I can interject again. This situation with our royal son Joshua Brown, they are playing it up real big. Now he's a drug kingpin, and yes, there is footage out there where he got a whole lot of weed, selling it to a Becky. I think that video was done like 5 months ago. I do not simply care at all, even though it was foolish on Joshua's part to be showing all that weed that he got. But that is not gonna sway me. This is classical setting up the black man. And what they'll do is look at, catch you on any mistakes that you have made, and they will amplify it. Now, all of a sudden, he a kingpin, and he is going to testify, and they gonna look up your ass. They gonna be watching you. And again, in our world, he's hotter than a motherfucking firecracker. Don't feed in that to that, my royal family. I done already seen the mug shots and everything. I don't give a damn if I seen him with tons of dope. It's bull ass shit. Now these motherfucking white people all through America, especially up here in the Bay Area where I live at, you got a bunch of white people out here selling weed, got all they cannabis clubs. They even making it now. They can sell the shit up out of their house, and they gonna say weed is a motherfucking drug. That ain't gonna work over here. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. But trust and to believe this is how Esau get down. If you make an inkling of a mistake, and they write, because they love pencil whipping you, they always running to go see, have you made any mistakes? They always running to your motherfucking computer, and all of this shit is a sham. All of this shit is a smear campaign, and all of this shit is insulting the royal family's intelligence. It ain't working no more, Esau. Fuck you.
Custody. Dallas police are looking for 2 others. But right now, despite the flurry of conspiracy theories and what was said for several days here, this does not appear related to his testimony in the Amber Geiger trial.
Because he was reluctant to testify. I think he had to finally be subpoenaed. He was concerned about how that might be received among the community. But I also understand he had been involved in a shooting or an attempted shooting before this. Is that correct? In his past?
Right. Yeah. His family's lawyer had told us that he was reluctant to testify. Judge Kemp also told us that he had been reluctant to testify. They weren't really quite sure of all the reasons for what was going on, but in November of last year, he was involved in a shooting outside of a club in Dallas. Another person at the scene there was murdered. So there was some concern from the lawyer that perhaps someone was coming to finish the job. It doesn't appear that November shooting of last year is even connected to this, that this is something altogether new. But of course, this is all developing here in the last few hours.
Yeah, Ed Lavendera, appreciate the update. Really fascinating interview, Ed. Thanks so much. I want to move on to the goods, where I'll share one last story that hopefully leaves you feeling good.
All right, my royal family, that is the end of that. And as we continue on, my royal family, they only did 13 minutes of it. Quite interesting. So, as we continue on, more bullshit. Let me check this out.
You gave her the Bible. I know that there's an organization right now. They have filed, it's an atheist organization, and they have filed a formal complaint saying it was unethical for you to hand her that Bible. What is your response to that?
Well, it's not as though I said, Miss Geiger, you need a Bible.
But when you give someone a Bible, it is a religious.
It was at
gesture.
her request.
It was at her request.
What she said to me after I said, please forgive yourself so that you can live a purposeful life. And she said, do you think my life can still have purpose? And I said, absolutely, it can. And she asked me, she said, do you think God will forgive me? And I said, absolutely, he will. And then she said, but I don't even have a Bible. I don't own a Bible. I don't know where to begin. And in that moment, I didn't want to lose Amber Geiger. And so I said, hold on, I'll get you a Bible. And I left the courtroom and went to my chambers and retrieved my Bible.
But does it get confusing when a judge behaves that way, in that you were there for the law, not for religion?
I was not there for the law. My legal duties had been concluded. No defendant presents themselves as one single act. The sum total of their life is presented. And
it's interesting you say that, because now the sum total of your years as a judge, people are now looking at that one moment and judging you. And I know you've seen the comments. I know you've seen the vitriol.
Actually, I have not.
You've not seen the comments. No. Well, I won't read them to you.
It's funny you say that.
But some of them have been brutal.
They are brutal. My family's concerned, but I'm not.
What is your family's concern?
They've read the comments. I have not.
For your safety?
Yes. But my faith is strong. If God brings me to it, he'll bring me through it. And this is one of the reasons why I'm discussing the hug, so that people will understand the sum total of what happened. Ms. Geiger asked about forgiveness, Ms. Geiger asked if I would hug her. I don't think any human being would have refused her at that moment.
You're such a strong woman. Before you go, I do want to ask you about the bailiff and explain to us what happened there. Because so much of this, you have the answers to far more.
I do.
What happened in that moment?
So Ms. Geiger had been found guilty of murder, and I had held her bond insufficient, which means she was not free to move about. She was in the custody of the sheriff's department. However, we were on a lunch break, and I couldn't send her to the jail to be frisked. So we asked a female bailiff to stay with her throughout the lunch break. And if you know anything about the jail, you gotta search every part of a person, including their hair, because we have people smuggle contraband and weapons in all manner of ways.
She was searching her hair.
Yes, she was accused of stroking her hair, but actually what she's looking for is contraband or weapons. And they do that to every female. So if you come to the Dallas County Jail, they're gonna remove your...
This is why we do this show. This moment went viral. This woman was mocked on social media. People said things about her. They referred to her that were horrible.
Yes.
There were people who said, look at her, a black woman being a Mammy. They assaulted her on social media, and she was doing her job.
And this is exactly why your show is so important, because we have to educate the public. We have to educate the public.
Judge Kemp, thank you so much for joining me today. You traveled from our good home state of Texas. I know it's always hard to leave Texas.
That's just because you're from Texas.
Thank you so much.
All right, my royal family. Okay, before I get into this bonus video, Tammy Kemp told a bold-faced motherfucking lie. Now, I'm not going to even show it to y'all because I want y'all to go find it yourself. When she was talking about the bailiff was searching and going through her hair, they don't frisk anybody in the courtroom. There's a chamber that there's another room that they can take them in. And the bailiff did not have on no motherfucking gloves when she so-called was searching her and going through her hair. Because there's another piece of footage where that same bailiff is with her processing her in jail and she got on the blue fucking gloves. That was a motherfucking lie. You gonna frisk somebody in the courtroom because now they are held down and now she's guilty of murder and they getting ready to check her? They do that in the privacy. So did they do a motherfucking cavity search? You a lying, disingenuous bitch. I see why they calling you Mammy. You had to find another story to cover that other Mammy ass up in the courtroom. I don't know what the fuck these Mammies is on. I can see why our kings get mad on shit like this. This shit is sickening. And then you sitting up here crying. I'll tell y'all later why she crying, because I'm going to give y'all this bonus bullshit. So, Ayanna Vazant sounds off on Judge Kemp, Brent Jean hugging Amber Geiger, and what she thinks black men can learn from it. I'm not going to read the article because it's going to say pretty much the same thing that she gonna say, but I got one key part to read in it. Once it's finished, the person who wrote this, I agree with them wholeheartedly. So let's listen to Mammy number 3, or you can call Mammy number 4. You can add it like that. But I'm telling you, I'm done.
So the thing that's been heard around the world right now is the judge hugging Amber Geiger. People are saying no, people are saying yes.
Yeah.
Tell me your thoughts.
know, I find it very interesting that you go into court and they want you to put your hand on the Bible and swear to God, but then they don't want you to act like a godly being in the process. So the judge hugging this woman brings humanity to our legal system, which is what's missing, which is why we have so many people rotting in jail for non-violent crimes, because the humanity is gone. So, and if we weren't in the courtroom, I'm not clear why we think we have an opinion. Why couldn't that judge do what she did from her heart and her mind to serve Miss, I should just call her Amber, to serve Amber? Why can't you just do what was in her heart and her mind?
Sure. So his brother and the judge, they both gave her hugs. So forgiveness is definitely in order.
You know, forgiveness isn't for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. I am so proud of that young man for claiming his right not to spend the next 10, 15 years in anger and upset with the woman who's in jail. He said his brother would have forgiven her. That's legacy. And when we want to honor those that we love, we do what they would do in their honor. So I'm glad he made that choice not to waste his life being upset with her. I'm glad that he made the choice to honor his brother's legacy. And I'm glad that as a black man, you understand, he became a demonstration for other black men about how to move from one step to the next.
You deranged bitch. You deranged black bitch. Only reason that coon ass bitch is doing that shit because she's sucking off of the tits of Oprah. That's all this shit is about. Oh my goodness, I'm heated, man. So with the journalist put at the very last of this article, which I will pin, not on my watch, Havana, is out of bounds on this one. Problem is that humanity doesn't extend to the people of color, specifically black men. Ain't nobody came and hugged no black men. They'll have a black man shackled down like a motherfucking dog in the courtroom and stuff. They was even concerned that anybody, because we never seen her handcuffed. Pay attention to that shit. We didn't see it one damn bit. They was too busy worrying about how it looked on her. Lie after lie after lie, cooning to the, oh wow, what they say, to the horse's motherfucking bridle. Now, the reason why this coon was doing all that motherfucking crying and stuff, because I mean, every interview, she's been crying to her motherfucking gut, because she feel the royal family's energy. Now, she sit up here talking about she had some type of calling. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. But the energy that I was feeling for like 3 days straight, that's why I had to keep pumping out the videos, because I'm empathic and I could feel our pain and stuff. And people who's empathic know what I'm talking about. She felt that. She felt the disapproval from the royal family. The hardest, like in Apollo, the hardest judges that you will ever get is the royal family. We demand perfection. We demand core ass truth. We don't be playing and waffling around when it comes to shit like this and many other things. She felt that shit because she know the shit wasn't right. She did not act on her true ass nature. That's what I put on my last podcast. No, she know it was wrong. See, we need to start putting peer pressure on each other. And I have been saying that for years. You got negative peer pressure and you got positive peer pressure, and you will meet those standards. We need to put peer pressure on each other and not accept no less than total perfection. Yeah, I mean that. And I know we can't get total perfection, but I mean it because I want to say it like that. We should demand each other to not be stabbing each other in the back. That's a hurting thing. That would be a hurting thing, that I would sit up here and pump out video after video after video, and then one day somebody catch me somewhere cooning and just speaking the opposite way. I like that peer pressure. I have had people to come to me behind the scenes and say, True Royal, I expect you to do certain type of videos. I hold you to a higher standard. And I said, I can deliver and I can accept that. They don't want me to go gut bucket and be out here doing silly shit in the world of YouTube on this world stage. And you sitting up here crying, we need to keep applying the energy, my royal family. We really do. We really need to be doing that. And if we encounter these people, we let them know how we feel. And if we can affect them in any way, do it to the motherfucking fullest. So, Mammy, Kemp, you ain't fooling me with changing up your hairstyle and all of this. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. Look at the motherfucking difference. There's a reason for everything that people do. And now you going on this coon Mammy tour, you got me real fucked up. So check this out, my royal family. Render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, I say bullshit.